U.S. officials are boasting about how great the Ukraine war has been going. This is written by Caitlin Johnstone. I love her work. Always doing wonderful work. Reposted at popularresistance.org. U.S. officials keep openly boasting that this supposedly unprovoked war, which the U.S. is only backing out of the goodness of our hearts, just so happens to serve U.S. interests tremendously. And to me, that's the key fact here, which you have to remember, is that the whole premise of us being involved in Ukraine, sending $100 billion of guns and missiles and everything to Nazis over there, the whole premise is that we don't even want, it's not helping us at all. We don't even want to be involved. We hate war and it's draining our resources and it's just so horrible to be involved in war, but we have to help the people in Ukraine, right? That's the idea. That's the concept. War is terrible. We don't want to be involved, but we just don't have a choice. And yet, if that's the case, why the fuck is every one of these U.S. officials bragging about how great the war in Ukraine has been for the United States and how great it continues to be? And I know this, it might seem like for a second this is going against what I've said, which is there's a rift in the ruling class between those who want to keep the war in Ukraine going and those who want to wrap it up because it's actually having a bit of a boomerang effect and decreasing the U.S. empire globally. And yes, all of that is still true. The people that I'm about to quote, Caitlin Johnson is about to quote, are the ones who support continuing the war. So that rift is not gone. It's just, anyway, or the ones who may not support continuing the war, but figure they have to continue to do the propaganda of it. In a recent article for the Connecticut Post, Senator Richard Blumenthal, so this is a Democrat, assured Americans that we're getting our money's worth on our Ukraine investment. That's how they view killing people. That's how they view war. That's how they view death and destruction. That's how they view funding. That's how they, and yet he calls it an investment, like a stock portfolio. We're sending money to our Ukraine investment as millions of lives have been destroyed. Millions. It's our Ukraine investment. Here's to continue to quote from Richard Blumenthal. For less than 3% of our nation's military budget, we've enabled Ukraine to degrade Russia's military strength by half, writes Blumenthal. We've united NATO and caused the Chinese to rethink their invasion plans for Taiwan. We've helped restore faith and confidence in American leadership. Oh, have you? Have you? Have you? Moral. Yeah, America, we're just so into the moral leadership of American government. It's just, yeah, absolutely. All without a single American service woman or man injured or lost, and without any diversion or misappropriation of American aid. Oh my God, I'd forgotten that he added that part. 70% of the weapons we're sending over there do not end up in the Ukrainian military's hands. They're just, that was a report from CNN and CBS, who, after they reported it, were pressured by the U.S. government to retract it. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt and say it's not 70%, it's 50%. 50% of everything sent over there ends up in, black market terrorist hands. Yeah, the aid's not diverted at all. As anti-war's Dave DeCamp observed, this type of investment talk about Ukraine has been getting more common. Last weekend, Senator Mitt Romney called the war the best national defense spending I think we've ever done. Quote, we're losing no lives in Ukraine, and the Ukrainians are fighting heroically against Russia. We're diminishing and devastating the Russian military for a very small amount of money. A weakened Russia is a good thing. Isn't it amazing how cavalierly they just ignore the death of Ukrainians? Like, how many hundreds of thousands have died? It's just like, not even, it doesn't matter if they die, as long as we're not dying. As long as we haven't lost one American service member, it's fine to have all those Ukrainians dying. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell argued that Americans should support the U.S. government. I guess this is between glitch modes. Argued that Americans should support the U.S. government's proxy warfare in Ukraine because, quote, we haven't lost a single American in this war, adding that the spending is helping to employ Americans in the military-industrial complex. Oh, yeah, that's what you want to hear. If you're Ukrainian and you're watching your friends get murdered and your fucking houses destroyed, I bet you love to hear Mitch McConnell go, isn't it great all the money we're getting? He said most of the money that we spend related to Ukraine is actually spent in the U.S., replenishing weapons, more modern weapons. So it's actually employing people here and improving our own military for what may lie ahead. He's admitting to war profiteering. He's like, isn't it great? We have war and we make a lot of money from it. This is wonderful. You're not supposed to admit to fucking war profiteering, you goon. That's the thing. They're like, we've gotten so egregious in this country that they don't even do the propaganda right anymore. They don't even claim to not be profiteering from war. Quote, let's see, this is still McConnell. Quote, helping equip our friends in Eastern Europe to win this war is also a direct investment in reducing Vladimir Putin's future capabilities to menace America, threaten our allies, and contest our core interests. So they're admitting that the real goal of this war, and really this goes back to the Maidan coup in 2014 and before, the real goal was to weaken Putin. So they're admitting to that as well. Yay, look how weak we're making Putin. In May of last year, Congressman Dan Crenshaw said on Twitter that investing in the destruction of our adversary's military without losing a single American troop strikes me as a good idea. Last November, the Imperial War Machine-funded think tank Center for European Policy Analysis published an article titled, It's Costing Peanuts for the U.S. to Defeat Russia, subtitled, The Cost-Benefit Analysis of U.S. Support for Ukraine is incontrovertible. It's producing wins at almost every level. The cost-benefit analysis. I mean, they're just talking about this like it's a stock that they invested in. Well, yeah, we put money in that. We want to see how it would go. And we don't really care how many people die. Okay, but here's the quote to beat all quotes. This one, more than any of the others. This is from the Washington Post, David Ignatius. So it's a Washington Post writer. So a courtesan for the ruling elite, a bootlicker of the corporate totalitarian state. He's writing this. Meanwhile, for the United States and its NATO allies, these 18 months of war have been a strategic windfall at relatively low cost, other than for the Ukrainians. The West's most reckless antagonist has been rocked. NATO has grown much stronger with the additions of Sweden and Finland. Germany has weaned itself from dependence on Russian energy. Yeah, weaned itself. You blew up their fucking pipelines, you asshole. And in many ways, rediscovered its sense of values. Oh my God, this is vomit-inducing. NATO squabbles make headlines, but overall, this has been a triumphal summer for the alliance. But more than anything else is that key phrase. There's been a relatively low cost other than for the Ukrainians. Other than for the fucking Ukrainians. This is how they view it. Ukrainians don't matter. They're barely people. So if we have to keep letting them die so that we can, weaken Russia, fine. Who cares? They don't matter. This goes against the whole fucking propaganda premise that we're over there to help Ukrainians. We love Ukrainians, right? Everybody you see with a flag in their house and they're waving around, and it's because they love Ukrainians. But here they are, the actual people that speak for the ruling elite, the actual ruling elite themselves saying, yeah, it's been a low cost. Oh, except for the Ukrainians. I mean, yeah, no, they're fucked. But otherwise, yay! Just unbelievable to see them boasting about how well it's going in Ukraine for the United States while Ukrainians suffer. It's exciting times.